and for us to get to these, but taken a lot of resources and time. What exactly are we looking into when you talk about these research areas that will be disseminated in this particular forum?
Thank you. So as I said, out of our 14 plus functions, research is just one of them.
Exactly.
And because we know research is actually very intensive in terms of resource input.
Yes.
What we have done is that our researches are done in collaboration with academia. Mm-hmm. So we have what we call a research committee that is composed of our team from the National Construction Authority, as well as the professors, doctors, and the researchers from various universities within the country that work on these papers, and then they come up with findings. Like the researchers we're doing here today, some of them started way back in 2020. Then all the 2021, 2022, and then by the beginning of this calendar year, we concluded them, and now today we are here to showcase them. How did we identify these areas of research?
Exactly.
Number one,
yes,
we have a document called National Construction Research Agenda. Mm-hmm. Now, a National Construction Research Agenda is a document that has a number of researches that have been identified through consultative and collaborative stakeholder industry effort, where people sit in a space, in a room, in a workshop, and agree that these are the areas that we need to be focusing on. So the National Construction Research Agenda we are implementing today, which is NACRA, which is informing where these papers have come from, is a second edition. The first one came into being in 2014, way back in 2014, when we first thought about, as an NCA, having existed for just about 3 years, from 2011, we asked ourselves, so this construction industry research, what should it be all about? So we called everyone in a space, in a room, and we had a conversation, and people agreed that these are the areas. So that time it was about 17 areas that were identified. That particular document or issues identified were supposed to be researched and concluded within a span of 3 years. So by the fall of 2017-2018, we had worked on a number of them, though there were still some gaps. So moving on, around 2019-2020, we produced another one that now is called the edition 2 of NACRA. So we have, for this particular event today, we have, we're looking at 4 areas.
Yes.
The first one, research area, is the role of socioeconomic factors on rural road construction projects performance in Kenya.
Right.
We are looking at how does the road construction in the rural areas contribute towards socio-economic development.
Right.
Socio, means things like employment, creating employment, giving job opportunities, and empowering the locals, especially the construction workers, because these are also those whom we credit as part of our mandate, as well as the economic well-being. And how can contractors incorporate the local content when they go to a place to start construction? How do they onboard those local fundis or construction workers into the projects, so that at least at the end of the project they can remain behind and maintain those projects after the project is delivered. The other issue, the other major important one, is the development of a coordination framework for quality.
That's the second
one, yes.
Yes.
So this coordination framework for quality assurance is where we are looking at how various players within the industry, because National Construction Authority has a mandate to oversee and coordinate the development in construction industry in Kenya. But it does this in collaboration with others. So how do we coordinate? So this particular research was meant to come up with a framework of coordination among very many players. Like for the building sector, the primary approving authority at the beginning, as per the Physical and Land Use Planning Act, is the county. After the county has done approval, the next level is the environmental approval by National Environmental Management Authority.
Yes.
Then, depending on the location of the project, there could be many other players. Like if it's next to a water body, there is Water Resources Authority. If it's next to a flight path or airport, there is the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority for heights and so on and so forth. If it's next to a major critical facility like a railway line, and because of the railway reserves, there's need to have the Kenya Railways input. If it's next to a major road, then there is need to have the input for any of the road authorities.
Meaning we have collaboration between these authorities and other authorities.
So this particular research was to come up with a framework for coordinating such quality assurance activities whenever we carry out our activities across the ground. Because for any building under construction, there is need to carry out continuous inspection to check compliance. The third research area we are looking at is assessment of factors influencing the participation of local firms in the public and private partnership infrastructure projects in Kenya. This is an example of a project like the recent concluded, which is called Nairobi Expressway, yes, which is a PPP project. So the question here that this particular research is attempting to address and answer is, what are the factors influencing participation of local firms? Because there is an input on financing, there's an input on labor, there's input on material, and another input even in terms of design. Yes. So which factors actually influence participation of local firms into this? Because most of the participants also come from outside the country. The fourth research area is which is early detection system for building failures in Kenya. Right. The question here is, what are some of the telltale signs you need to be looking out for before a building collapse, for safe evacuation before a building that collapses? It could collapse because of old age, it could collapse because of one reason or another, environmental factors that affected it, or just because of other issues like workmanship, design, and materials and so on and so forth. Yes, exactly. So to that extent, what this research is trying to address is, what are some of the things the Wananchi will be looking on? And I think this is very important, because we'll be living here with the Wananchi informed that if I'm living in a building, what are some of the things that I should be looking out for to know that my building is still safe, all right, even 50 years down the line?
Now, I'm looking at the NCA as an authority.
Yes.
You have a motto that you run by when you talk about promoting excellence.
Yes.
You talk about promoting excellence in the construction industry. Now, just in brief, how far are we when it comes to achieving this target?
Well, excellence, is one of the things that is a mark of quality, and it also guarantees safety. If you do something in an excellent manner, it means you'll have a quality product, you'll have a safe product, and you'll have a product that is sustainable. Yes. So to the extent how far we have achieved our motto, the motto is put there to keep us
in check,
to keep our eyes on the ball continuously.
All right.
So you can't say we'll reach there and say we are now excellent. We have to continue doing what we're doing to ensure.
And that's why we are here.
And that's why we are here.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much. And of course, it has been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. That is the Executive Director, Engineer Maurice Akech. Thank you so much for joining me, my brother.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure, Engineer.
Thank you.
Asana,
really appreciate it.
All right. Let's take a short break. We will be back here. Remember, we are still taking camp right here at the Western Hotel because of the Research Dissemination Forum taking place here in Nairobi.
The National Construction Authority is mandated to undertake research into the construction industry as a vital function that fosters effective knowledge diffusion, innovation, and improved performance of the industry. NCA will host its third Research Dissemination Forum on 20th to 21st June 2023, during which 4 pertinent research studies will be presented. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 and the NCA Facebook page, National Construction Authority, and YouTube channel, National Construction Authority, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The National Construction Authority, promoting excellence in the construction industry.
Welcome to East Africa. This this Safari Rally Kenya.
The WRC Safari Rally is set for June 22nd to June 25th in Naivasha. This year's event, the seventh leg of the WRC calendar, consisting of 19 stages, will see drivers, among them defending champion and series leader Khalid Vampera, battle in what's considered as the toughest rally in the world. KBC Channel 1 will bring you the action to your living room, where a total of only 5 stages will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and the Shakedown exclusive on our Facebook page. Catch the WRC Safari Rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Amparo, did something happen to Reynaldo?
No. Listen, I don't get it. What happened, and why are you here, Amparo?
Amparo, please tell me where's Reynaldo.
Didn't your wife bother to explain?
Yes, of course she told me what happened, but I want to hear your story as well.
And what for?
You have a choice. You'll talk to Oligario, or you'll give me the report about Milena. Give me the real one, and you will get a huge sum.
It's Rodrigo. I think he's seeing someone else.
Las Bandidas.
After the dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
Have you used the hustler fund?
When your children sleep hungry, when you can borrow 500 or 1,000 shillings and they have some food on the table.
So the 500 you're giving me now is my purchasing power has literally been diminished comparing to probably even January or December.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
In terms of the amount of money that is being disbursed, the minimum being 500 shillings, how do you scorecard that?
No, that I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'll still give it 5 out of 5.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
What is the impact of the Hustlers Fund?
There are people who borrow praying they don't have to pay back. For example, they pray that the owner dies.
The Scorecard. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
My name is Tuta Mionki. I'm a co-driver. Unfortunately, this year I'm not taking part in the safari. It's always an exciting event to take part in, but I'm excited to see so many ladies taking part. Mine is to encourage them to keep going, until they get to the end, and to most importantly enjoy themselves. Hopefully we'll be back next year and competing next year as well. We had a few issues with our car, so couldn't get parts on time. That's why, unfortunately, we are not able to take part this time. I'll be in Naivasha to cheer the ladies on, so yes.
맹수 아니면요 고도로 훈련된 살인병력밖에 없이요. 설마 아니겠지.
왜 이러나? 캄다운.
내가 여기 오지 말라 그랬지.
구청에서 이미 공식 발표가 나버렸죠요. 모르시나?
그건 내가 알 바가 아니고.
아, 우리 신부님 알 바가 아니다. 성전으로 만들. 신부가 사람을 치네. 사탄이다.
Amparo, did something happen to Reynaldo?
No. Listen, I don't get it. What happened, and why are you here, Amparo?
Amparo, please tell me where's Reynaldo.
Didn't your wife bother to explain?
Yes, of course she told me what happened, but I want to hear your story as well.
And what for?
You have a choice. You'll talk to Oligario, or you'll give me the report about Milena. Give me the real one, and you will get a huge sum.
It's Rodrigo. I think he's seeing someone else.
Las Bandidas.
Mimi siwezi kukaa hapa peke yangu. Wamjua tena huu shetani.
Mtakaa hapa kando yako mpaka haya maneno tuyamalize. Sijui nini hasa ambacho kinaendelea hapa.
I swear to you, wakili. You will regret it.
Mwenye kudesign ni mimi na mimi ndo najua pesa yangu sawa. Basi itabidi ukazane zaidi, unasikia? Oe.
I swear. Lazima huyu mtu aende jela for a very long time. Sitaki kujua atakuwa ni nani. No one plays with my money.
Just make a wish. You never want the things, baby. Give me that good loving. My queen, the woman of my dream. Oh, my queen. All the girls around the world, she means the most to me. My favorite boy, since we've been hanging, no more flirting around. Oh, girl, you cool me down. 1, 2, 3, I love you.
In 1992 to 1997, Kuti worked at the Isiolo District Hospital before investing in a private hospital, Waso Medical Services. In 2002, Kuti, then a 36-year-old doctor who had made a name for himself by caring for the sick in northeastern Kenya, ventured into politics and was elected to represent Isiolo North constituency on a Kano ticket. In 2002, President Kibaki appointed Kuti as Assistant Minister for Health. He has been credited with being one of the people who played a big role in initiating several reforms in the initial years of the Kibaki presidency. These included putting systems in place to fight corruption, such as the Kenya Anti-Corruption Authority, now known as the Ethics Anti-Corruption Commission, and the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, in setting up an efficient monitoring unit to boost performance in government offices. The government's defeat in the November 2005 referendum on changing the Constitution of Kenya turned out to be a blessing in disguise for Kuti. An analysis of the referendum polls established that the majority of youths had voted against the draft. President Kibaki then formed a ministry dedicated to the youth. Kuti was then appointed as Minister for Youth Affairs. The newly crafted ministry drafted several wide-reaching youth employment policies and initiatives. The programs included the National Youth Enterprise Fund, Chora Bizna, National Youth Policy, and National Youth Council. There were also policies to strengthen the copyright protection of works by local musicians. In 2006, Kuti gazetted the Youth Enterprise Development Fund with a strategic focus on enterprise development as a key strategy aimed at increasing opportunities for and participation by Kenyan youths in nation building. The fund was launched by President Kibaki on the 1st of February 2007 with a 1 billion shillings seed capital. By June 2019, the fund had cumulatively disbursed loans amounting to 12.8 billion shillings to more than 1 million youths across the country since 2013. He successfully defended his seat in 2007. In 2008, he was appointed to head the Ministry of Livestock Development. In 2013, Kuti won the Isiolo senatorial seat under the devolved system of government. In 2017, He vied for the Isiolo governorship as an independent candidate and floored 5 other contenders, becoming one of the only 2 governors in the country to be elected as independents. In 2022, Kuti dropped his re-election bid due to ill health. At the same time, he quit active politics. Jackie Wambiru, The Cabinet.
All right, thank you so much for sticking with us. We are still setting up here at the Weston Hotel. Remember, this is courtesy of the National Construction Authority. Here we are having the 3rd Research Dissemination Forum taking place today and tomorrow. My name is Ram Aguko. It's a pleasure being with you. Earlier on, I was with Engineer Maurice Akech, the NCA Executive Director, and we were just talking about what this forum is all about. Well, this fine morning, still joining me today, I am now with Mercy Okiro. She is the Vice Chair of the Board for the NCA. Karibu sana Mercy.
Thank you so much, Ram. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. I'm excited about this particular event, and I love the fact that, you know what, people have turned up to have conversations about the future of the country. But before we get into this particular area, I'm looking at the NCA. For somebody who is, trying to grasp this authority for the first time, tell us something a bit more about what the NCA is all about and its mandate so far. Before we took that break, I just mentioned earlier that you have a motto, promoting excellence in the construction industry. And the Executive Director mentioned that it takes time to do so. Tell me something a bit more about this particular authority.
Okay, thank you for having me here. I'll start by saying that, of course, we are established under an Act of Parliament.
Yes.
And our key mandate basically is to ensure that there is good standards and overseeing the construction industry in Kenya. Of course, this mandate was given to us in 2011 under the National Construction Authority Act.
Yes.
And so more or less we just celebrated 10 years actually last year. So we oversee and basically ensure that there is excellence in the construction industry. And of course, then that means our mandate is not just about oversight, it's also about development. As you can see, well, that's why we are here today to do this seminar, because also we should set standards, and we are a regulator, so our work is to set standards, see the enforcement of that standards, and also perhaps sanction, and also give development and comments on future development in the construction industry. In a nutshell, that's what I'd say. Yes.
And I'm looking at the journey that we've taken so far. From where you sit, how far are we when it comes to early risk detection frameworks that are there in the construction industry in this country?
Okay, I'd say that from our end at least, we have been instrumental now, especially after 10 years, of course, since our establishment. We have had to go and look back at areas where we need to improve, and one of the issues are early, as you've said, early risk management, is that we're now working with county governments early enough, and of course this early risk, of course, it's around issues of manpower and capacity, expertise, around issues of also the material that is used. So we're in conversations with county governments. Of course, we've also spoken around the same issue with our sister agencies. More importantly, on our end, we have actually given some proposals that for now I can't discuss, because I would say they haven't azijaiva vizuri. Yeah, but we are doing proposals. Yes, so that now they can actually be having learned our lessons over the last 10 years, so that now we can have this as part of our mandate moving forward, and how we engage with agencies, and also, of course, in our own way, also expanding capacity, because if you remember also what we had, for instance, in the agriculture sector back then, like extension officers. Our outreach now has to be county as opposed to regional. So those are so many issues we are looking at. But of course, our role is that is one of our roles that we have, because anything construction, that is truly our mandate as granted to us by Parliament. Yes.
And of course, the conversation about housing is still a very sensitive area in the country, but forget about the housing levy first. Let's talk about the construction area. When we talk about early risk detection, are there certain areas that you believe we still need to work on as a country, considering the recent stories that have been making headlines on story buildings collapsing, some people actually losing goods and property worth millions of shillings?
Okay. The first thing I'd say is capacity building in terms of ensuring that we have actual professionals getting involved in building. You see, when you go to most of these buildings that are not perhaps big commercial establishments or government even, you find the person being called engineer there is not truly a qualified engineer. That's first of all. Are we having the professionals from the beginning doing these buildings? That's number one. Number two, even the foremen, and that's also one of our mandates, and we've been actually doing that as NCA, training skilled workers. That is the foreman and the actual construction workers, because that helps in them knowing what to mix, how to do it, so that you just don't pick your relative who finished Form 4 and put them on a construction site. Of course, we're working with sister agencies. We're working very closely with KENHA, and also NEMA, the other regulators, because we understand that even in terms of capacity, we collaborate, it's better, so that even when they're issuing licenses, we issue license. For instance, an NEMA license is a requirement for us as NCA to approve your construction. Also, we are doing a lot of capacity building in terms of training people. That's actually one of our core mandates as has been given to us by the Act. Among the powers, we train a lot of skilled workers. We also train even non-skilled workers, to mean the professionals, just to ensure that they understand how they can collaborate to improve our mandates. Basically, yeah.
All right, and I love what you said. You don't just pick somebody who just left high school and you call them an engineer. We need to know what qualifies somebody to be called an engineer, to have that particular title. They are registered, and there are people who have that particular qualification. Let's slightly talk about that particular area here. Just for the Wanjiko watching us today, those nitty-gritties, what are those things that they need to be looking out for before they bring in an individual to get involved in construction for them?
Okay. The first thing is a contractor, and you see at NCA we have levels of contractor, that is 1 to 8, and 8 being the lowest class in terms of experience. So that every construction or any project you want to undertake always has a person who's suited for that specific, I'd say, magnitude of that project. And then you can always write to NCA, and we're available at Huduma centers. You can go to our desk at no charge. You can find out whether, first of all, the person who's purporting to be a contractor is a person who is qualified. That's number one. Number two, also, when you're registering a project, the Engineers Board of Kenya also has opened up in terms of good public service. As you've learned that public service is not the old public service, you can inquire. If someone is telling you they're an engineer, you can actually send those details and find out if they're actually an engineer, just as you would for a lawyer with the Law Society of Kenya. Second of all, of course, is an architect, and I tell people, avoid buying these buildings plans that are sold on the streets, because those plans are what will lead to an eventual collapse. Number 4, when looking for accredited workers, you have two options. One, you can actually come again to NCA and check. We have a database of accredited skilled workers. That's where you can get your foreman. And also, in line with our mandate, we've trained more and more people in the counties, and actually even technical and TVET institutions, so that there will be people who will be available. The other option is perhaps people who are skilled, who have been perhaps constructing, you can just ask us to come and accredit them by checking what skill set and what their level is. And of course, that will help you get a secure building in the end, and it will avoid unnecessary collapses and issues of the building and the integrity generally. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's a question that I'm seeing popping up on my screen.
Okay.
This is a question concerning the pictures. People see the X mark. X marks the spot. For somebody who doesn't understand what it's all about, when you get to a particular building and you see an X written on the wall, what does it mean?
Okay, we usually avoid being called the X authority. It's not a good look for us, but unfortunately, people have tagged us. Anyway, an X basically, when you see it on a site, it basically means that site has either been suspended and the suspension has not been lifted, or more importantly, it's a site that is now more or less, I want to speak like a lawyer. Yes. It's a dead site. It's been cancelled.
It's a very risky area.
Yeah, basically, it has not complied with some, of course, after sometimes a person may not have complied with basic things like perhaps putting up signage or giving the construction workers protective gear. You see those ones, once they are complied, they can be lifted. But then if it's an X that is consistently there, and sometimes it will find now it speaks to the integrity of the building, and that will mean that this is not a safe construction anymore. So that site is done. Yeah.
And therefore no work should proceed in that particular area.
More or less, yes. But as I've said, sometimes that X is as a result of a suspension. And now this suspension, anyway, just as I said again, the NCA, and one of the requirements is that signage must then have the NCA number.
Yes.
And even if the temporary suspension is there, in terms of, as I've said, things that can be remedied. For instance, construction workers not having a helmet, or lack of signage, lack of things that are easily perhaps correctable. At that juncture, once that is done, you can always take the NCA number. Again, as I'm saying, you can verify it's a public office and we serve the Kenyan public. You can verify that through our Huduma centers, or even any employee of NCA. Even you can come to the headquarters, or you can reach out on our various social media platforms. Even me as a board member or the vice chair of the board, to verify that site has either the suspension has been lifted or that site has been cleared to continue. Even constructions that you see an NCA number and you're not sure if it's perhaps a correct number, or it's people forge NCA numbers.
Yes.
Please reach out to us and we will act swiftly and accordingly.
All right.
Yeah.
The authority has also one interesting mandate that I find to be very appealing to me, to accredit and register contractors and regulate their professional undertakings.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, because you are doing that particular role.
Yeah.
From where you sit, how is the future of the construction industry in Kenya as we bring this conversation to a close?
Okay, the future of the construction industry in Kenya is definitely, of course, from where I sit, is definitely one of the areas that will bring a lot of GDP. Because first of all, there's a lot of government support around infrastructure, and housing really is just one part of what people think about construction. Think about roads, think about bridges, think about bypass, think about SGR. Just basically a lot of construction happening in Kenya with the name, of course, of infrastructure development. And further enough, just from even the last two presidential regimes, back from the late President Mwai Kibaki, my apologies, infrastructure has been at the heart of government, and really a lot of money, time, efforts has been pumped into it. Yes. So that what we now need to do, and what we are actually aiming to do as a National Construction Authority, is that as infrastructure increases, also our regulation, our mainstreaming the construction industry and oversight also goes in tandem with the development. And that's why, of course, we are in the process of finalizing the building code, which of course has to be as modern as the days we are and the times that we are in, amongst other policy statements and documents, as well as even including this research forum today, where we look at getting in touch with the market, so that even internally, as we develop our policies and as we carry out our mandate, as has been granted to us, we remain in touch with the public and the professionals, as you will see here in the papers presented, so that we move together and have sustainable and of course well-oiled construction industry, and that serves the Kenyan public. Yeah.
All right. I'm looking at this events program, and I love the fact that we will be having panel discussions. We shall also be having research presentations, and today we expect to have a presentation by Engineer Proson Ngeno on early risk detection framework for the construction industry, and of course later on we shall also have another proposal or presentation concerning development of a coordination framework for quality assurance processes in the construction industry. All these, quite a lot of engagements expected for this event. But for you, what should we expect after the end of this 2-day forum as a country?
Okay, as a country, thank you. The program is very rich, and I must highlight that this is not our first forum, Dissemination Forum. This is our third, and usually that is pegged also on our mandate. We also have a mandate to do research, capacity building, and training for the construction industry. So as usual, just as with our other previous fora rather, with this specific fora, the outcome, of course, is that these papers will be crystallized and disseminated to the public first of all, and they'll be available even on our public portal and at our offices.
Yes.
Second, these papers will also now be, of course, the board has been involved in sanctioning and allowing this to happen, and basically the permission has come from the board. These papers and now come to the board. Don't forget that NCA also, we do make policy, and we advise the cabinet secretary and also our principal secretary public works, even housing, on matters construction, so that these findings, they are also discussed at the highest level at the board, and also in terms of advising our principals, as it were, on the areas of construction, so that the outcome is that public will be more informed about recent developments and futuristic conversations in construction, and also the board, including the members who are not here, of course, outside of myself, and the authority will be able to appreciate areas, and also in terms of feedback from the attendees that will get here. And once all those crystallize, then we can plug into our mandate and see where we need to improve.
Wonderful.
And how we can move on with this feedback, and also the public can appreciate the conversations once these papers are uploaded on the portal.
Thank you so much, Marcy.
Yeah.
I wish you the best. Keep
Thank
doing
you
what
so
you're
much.
doing. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Now, I am, of course, still here. We are here as the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, taking very intensive coverage of this particular forum. Remember, it is the third of its own kind, the third research dissemination forum taking place here at the Western Hotel live. We are also expecting, remember, in this particular forum, 4 important research studies that will be presented, including one that we mentioned during the conversation that I've just had with Mercy, who is the Vice Chair for the board of NCA, concerning research presentation on early risk detection framework for the construction industry of Kenya. Also included in the presentations that we expect today is one on the development of a coordination framework for quality assurance processes of construction industry regulators. These are just some of the presentations that we expect to see in this particular forum today, courtesy of the National Construction Authority. Well, it has been a pleasure being with you today in this particular section. Remember, we shall move on to the other side of this particular hotel, where the forum has already started. We expect a lot to take place in this particular event. Well, from my end, it has been a pleasure. My name is Ram Aguko. Thank you so much for being part of this particular broadcast. Still, stay tuned to more right after this short break. This is KBC Channel 1.
Iwapo unakohoa, unahisi uchungu kwenye kifua, uchovu kila wakati, joto jingi mwilini, unakosa hamu ya kula au kupoteza uzito haraka bila kukusudia na kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, waweza kuwa waugua TB.
What if he's not really dead?
I'd be very shocked to see his pretty brothers.
I'm not dead, Alice.
You are to me. Do you think Dad had a will?
Of course he did.
TB yaweza kuangamiza jamii yako. Usikubali. Matibabu ni bila malipo katika hospitali zote za serikali.
Welcome to East Africa. This is Safari Rally Kenya.
The WRC Safari Rally is set for June 22nd to June 25th in Naivasha. This year's event, the 7th leg of the WRC calendar, consisting of 19 stages, will see drivers, among them defending champion and series leader Khalid Vanpera, battle in what's considered as the toughest rally in the world. KBC Channel 1 will bring you the action to your living room, where a total of only 5 stages will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and the Shakedown exclusive on our Facebook page. Catch the WRC Safari Rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
After the dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
Have you used the hustler fund?
When your children sleep hungry, when you can borrow 500 or 1,000 shillings and they have some food on the table.
So the 500 you're giving me now is my purchasing power has literally been diminished comparing to probably even January or December.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
In terms of the amount of money that is being disbursed, the minimum being 500 shillings, how do you scorecard that?
No, that I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'll still give it 5 out of 5.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
What is the impact of the Hustlers Fund?
There are people who borrow praying they don't have to pay back. For example, they pray that the owner dies.
The Scorecard. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Amparo, did something happen to Reynaldo?
No. Listen, I don't get it. What happened, and why are you here, Amparo?
Amparo, please tell me where's Reynaldo?
Didn't your wife bother to explain? Yes, of course, she told me what happened, but I want to hear your story as well. And what for?
You have a choice. You'll talk to Oligario, or you'll give me the report about Milena. Give me the real one, and you will get a huge sum.
It's Rodrigo. I think he's seeing someone else.
Las Bandidas.
Mimi siwezi kukaa hapa peke yangu. Wamjua tena huu shetani.
Mtaka hapa kando yako mpaka ya maneno tuyamalize. Sijui nini hasa ambacho kinaendelea hapa.
I swear to you, wakili. You will regret it.
Mwenye kudesign ni mimi na mimi ndo najua pesa yangu sawa. Basi itabidi ukazane zaidi, unasikia? Oe.
I swear. Lazima huyu mtu aende jela for a very long time. Sitaki kujua atakuwa ni nani. No one plays with my money.
Even in our twilight years, we deserve to enjoy rich and fulfilling lives. New technologies are now helping to ensure this. Injuries from falls are a big problem that this innovative floor surface helps to avoid. The surface stays flat and solid underfoot, even for wheelchair users. But if it receives a strong shock like a falling body, the floor changes shape. The special structure underneath instantly deforms to absorb impact before returning to its original state. This technology was developed by Shimomura Hiroshi. Try to crush a paper cup or an empty can using a gentle force, nothing happens. They feel solid and rigid. But apply a strong force quickly and they'll instantly collapse. This is the same principle. What's special is that the floor can be crushed over and over and still return to its original form. It took much research to develop a structure that can deform and recover its shape. This floor reduces the force of impact by up to half. It's already in use in many medical and care facilities. There's a limit to how far we can prevent falls, so we need to create an environment where even if someone does fall, they will still be safe. Robots able to hold conversations are now helping improve life for the elderly in care facilities. Palro is a humanoid robot equipped with artificial intelligence. Here, Palro is leading these old folks through a set of exercises. It uses built-in cameras, microphones and sensors to understand and interact with its surroundings. It's capable of having quite complex conversations. Palro can recall over 100 faces and names and has a very friendly, natural manner. Me too. Palro can even remember your favorite song and sing it with you. We talked to one of the team who developed Palro, Sugimoto Naoki. The effects we've found are that when a person feels that Palro cares about them, it definitely helps to ease their mind and relieve anxiety. They feel less lonely and become more motivated to enjoy life and to stay in good health. This robot is shaped like a seal and is designed to have a soothing, healing effect. She's called Paro. Stroke her and she gives off happy vibes. Hello, Paro. Just like a pet, Paro responds to her name. Paro can sense more than just touch and voice. Her sensors tell her your temperature and position, helping her interact with you very like a real animal. This is Shibata Takanori, Paro's creator. We designed Paro so people would want her to live with them like a pet. Her main purpose is to comfort and to give pleasure. To make her suitable for use in care facilities, Paro's design was modified to improve both safety and performance. Electromagnetic shielding makes her safe to be around people with pacemakers. Paro's fur is given a silver ion treatment that kills viruses. And all her fur is attached by hand, with every detail carefully and realistically crafted. Paro is now authorized as an effective medical aid in over 30 countries. Our next step is to get authorization for use in more medical facilities as well as in care homes. With its aging population, Japan is leading the world with technologies to make life better for the elderly and those needing care.
Unakuja na hizo ndefu hapa hivi. Na wao uliambiwa uchukue litaya na